Oh, I'm Q Harrison. This is the Sports Card Strategy Show with your man, Paul Hickey. What's good? No off season. When you get into this game, the reason why you pay someone like Paul Hickey to get your sports card strategy together is because sometimes when you're starting out, you need perspective, you need wisdom, you need insights. And so he's been around the track enough times where he can actually coach you up and guide you. Doesn't mean he's going to take you to the promised land tomorrow, but you now have a coach by your side that can advise and kind of even create these pathways where you can get the education yourself. And that's a lot better than thugging it out on your own.
What's up, everybody? I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. This is the Sports Card Strategy Show. Don't forget to get a free 30-day trial at NoOffSeason.com today to help you make money flipping sports cards, build your sports card investment portfolio, get unlimited advice from our experts, and take sports card school to navigate the hobby. That's NoOffSeason.com. Get your free 30-day trial today. All the data we use on the Sports Card Strategy Show is from MarketMoversApp.com. Use code NOOFFSEason at MarketMoversApp.com to get 20% off for life after a free 14-day trial. All right, let's get to the Sports Card Strategy. Yes. What's up, everybody? I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. This is the Sports Card Strategy Show, here to help you make money flipping sports cards. I love doing this show with all of you. Thank you for joining my NoOffSeason.com family. Today, we're going to talk about the top 5 sports cards to buy, graded, and flip, as we do every Wednesday. And I want to talk a little bit about why should we care about this new Topps Mercury release. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay tuned. We're going to break it down. We'll also talk about some upcoming releases. But first, are you ready to start grading your cards? CGC Cards is the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today. And we say hello to many of you watching live on youtube.com/Paul Hickey and on Instagram, Sports Cards PS, Dustin Nebrate, Husky Cards and Collectibles, Adrian Charlie, The Real J-Rod 79, Chasing 10s 24, DMV Slab Hub, V Bros Collectibles, Sean Poston Photography, D-Rock Jag, K9s by Chris, The Real J-Rod 79, already said that, and Gavin Stitt. What's up, everybody? Get in the live chat if you want. Koa Carrero in the house. Who's your card guy? And Chad Dyer becoming one of the best names in the live chat these days and commenting on the YouTube videos at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Appreciate all of you. All right. So I want to talk about something real quick before we get into our top 5 sports card opportunities to buy, graded, and flip. And what I want to talk about is your sports card investment portfolio allocation. How do you allocate your sports card investment portfolio? Do you even think about it that way? Do you think as you're buying sports cards, what kind of category it fits into? So let me give you an example. At Sports Card School at NoOffSeason.com recently, I put out a lesson about how to allocate your sports card investment portfolio. And we used to talk about 3 categories: GOATs, heroes, and flyers. That was kind of the vernacular that we used for the first few years that we were doing this. And then recently I realized that that's not necessarily the best way for me to allocate my sports card investment portfolio, mainly because GOATs don't really move that much. Like when you're looking at guys like, let's say, Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, even Mike Trout, even active GOATs, they don't really move that much. Like LeBron doesn't move that much. Jordan doesn't move that much. Kobe doesn't move that much. And what I mean when I say that is not that their cards aren't liquid. Certainly their cards move, but from a pricing standpoint, there's no real selling marker for guys like Michael Jordan, Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Sanders. When we look at these guys, whether they're vintage GOATs, whether they're retired players that are kind of in the wheelhouse of, late 80s, early 90s cards. Those GOATs there's no real selling markers for their cards. So having them as a category in your sports card investment portfolio actually doesn't make as much sense as what I'm about to say. So I think that it's smart to allocate your sports card investment flipping portfolio along the lines of, say, raw to grade, already graded. Maybe it's a Panini Instant type flip or play, right? Not that you can't diversify players within those categories, but I think diversifying the actual play between what are you waiting for to get back to you from a grading company? What are you ready to sell now because you bought it already graded? Because those types of diversifications, I think, start to make more sense when you look at cash flow, like getting cash flow back into your bankroll, right? So if you're diversifying between GOATs, heroes, and flyers, you're going to be waiting on the GOATs. They're going to be going up and down. I would rather see you get in and out of players during the time while you're holding GOATs and your money's wrapped up into retired players. So that's why we've created the formula at nooffseason.com. The formula is a recommendations engine that takes data from the data tools that you're familiar with, like market movers and 130 point, and even just the eBay sold listings. And it pulls them into our recommendations engine that gives an ROI analysis based on raw to grade and based on already graded, which we talk about on Wednesdays. We talk about raw to grade on Mondays. Hector's in the house. Arturo Torres is in the house. What's up? So let me know, everybody. How do you diversify your sports card investment portfolio? And I'm going to dig even deeper. The way I'm thinking about my portfolio is within the raw to grade category. I'm currently narrowing it down. And I'm narrowing it down into really two different categories: safe bets and flyers, right? My safe bets in the raw to grade category, based on what the formula tells me. Now, you're going to have to go to nooffseason.com and look at the formula-based rankings or listen back to Monday's episode because we compared these two guys. Victor Wembanyama and CJ Stroud. I'm just going to come out and say it. Call me Captain Obvious, troll me. I really don't care. When you're trying to make money flipping sports cards for a living to support your family like I am, you got to have some safe bets. Everything can't be a flyer because you're not going to win most of your flyer bets. Now, the flyer bets that you do win big, but the flyer bets that you lose are more often than the flyer bets that you win. So you got to have some sure bets, and some sure bets are Victor Wembanyama and CJ Stroud from a raw to grade standpoint. Why? Because the numbers line up. A lot of their PSA 10s sell for significantly more than their raw cards. So like the Topps Chrome, the Prism Base, the Prism Silver, those three categories of cards exist for each of those two players. And from a raw to grade standpoint, we have months on the calendar for Victor Wembanyama to make those grading plays. It's just smart. And we have months on the calendar for CJ Stroud to make those grading plays. All signs point to CJ Stroud having another solid season. He hasn't done anything outstanding yet, which actually makes it perfect to invest in him from a raw to grade standpoint because his raw cards aren't super expensive right now. And the upside of the PSA 10s should rise as they should for Victor Wembanyama. Now, everyone's susceptible to injuries. Stroud's susceptible to injuries. But from a performance standpoint, we don't have to worry about the things that we're seeing, obviously, with Bryce Young and Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. Those guys are a little bit up in the air. Even Joe Burrow, to a certain extent, is up in the air. Even Justin Herbert, to a certain extent, is up in the air from a performance standpoint. I think if you were to look at the NFL right now and you're to project out the next few months, I think we continue to see a rise in CJ Stroud's value. And so getting them to a grading company right now makes a lot of sense. Now, the other side of that diversification is the flyer bets. I'm going to come in and I'm going to say two names that I'm placing some pretty significant flyer bets on right now, and maybe a third or fourth name as well. Now, one guy I haven't really revealed on the Sports Card Strategy Show as I've been purchasing him over the last couple of weeks because I just kind of wanted to feel out his card market before I came onto the show and I flag planted on him, is Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe has national cards. Now, what I mean by national cards are from the 2024 National. He has cards that I believe are his best cards. He also has like Leaf autos. He has some autos from some other non-licensed brands. There really are no Jalen Milroe licensed cards right now. They're player licensed, but there's no Alabama Jalen Milroe licensed cards. There's no Alabama Bowman U Jalen Milroe cards yet. There's no Alabama licensing on the Panini cards that came out from the National. There's no Panini NIL cards with Jalen Milroe. And all of his cards with Leaf and everything like that are not licensed. So Jalen Milroe, specifically the Panini cards from the National, serial numbered raw, his autos, I believe, are way too expensive to invest in. One lesson I've learned is that when you invest in these guys' autos, there really is limited upside. And by these guys, I mean like high-end college quarterbacks, high-end college quarterback autos, very, very limited upside. I've had a lot of break evens with some of the best, most surefire bets. I have break evens because they're priced so high to begin with. So I'm not talking about Jalen Milroe autos, but I'm specifically talking about serial numbered cards coming out of the National. Jalen Milroe, I'm buying them, and some of them I'm grading. Another guy is Julian Sayin. He's the quarterback for Ohio State, has the similar cards coming out of the National that Jalen Milroe does, but they are licensed. They are licensed Ohio State Buckeyes. So Julian Sayin, not playing yet, but he is the prospect. He is the true freshman prospect at Ohio State. And like what we saw with Arch Manning this past week, when Julian Sayin gets his opportunity to get on the field, we should see a big spike in his cards. So I am strategically bidding on and buying Julian Sayin cards. There's also Panini NIL cards for Julian Sayin that are much cheaper. So Jalen Milroe, Julian Sayin, I wanted to let everybody know in the nooffseason.com family that I'm a big fan of going out and buying those guys' raw cards right now. I think those are two flyer plays that are pretty safe. They're pretty safe flyer plays, if that makes sense. So diversifying my sports card portfolio right now in terms of what I'm buying between really Wemby and Stroud raw to grades, which is I think super safe, and the flyer quarterbacks like the Jalen Milroes and the Julian Sayans of the world. I even bought a Dylan Raiola 10-pack from Panini NIL. I just think I don't know when I'm going to get those cards, but I think Dylan Raiola has a long runway. I think, Milroe, Sayin. I know a lot of you are fans of Cam Ward. Fine. I'm not endorsing it, but I'm not endorsing it on the Sports Card Strategy Show to go out and get some Cam Ward cards if you think that they are a good deal. I have not run Cam Ward through the formula yet. I'm not ready to endorse him, but I do think that the college quarterback plays are good to offset some of the more sure bet current pro stars like Wemby and Stroud. Hector's in the live chat saying GOAT cards can be good to use when elected for the Hall of Fame, but not sure that works anymore. Yeah, I mean, I think we saw that fizzle out, Hector. The data showed me that fizzled out like sort of late 2021. People were onto that pretty early, and we really haven't seen a massive spike at all in anyone's cards being elected to the Hall of Fame. It's not that it can't happen. It's just it's not as frequent of a profitable play anymore. Card Snatcher in the house, MW in the house. What's going on? All right. So want to know, drop a comment below at youtube.com/Paul Hickey, or feel free to DM me on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy. What do you think of when you think of diversifying your sports card investment portfolio. Is this a brand new concept? Is this the first time you've ever heard anyone mention it? Is it foreign to you? Do you think about it all the time? Are you in the middle? Are you confused? Do you need help? Just let me know. I'm here to help. So we can get you going. Gavid Stitt, Gypsy South Cards, Pike, Pierre Abry, Barstool Slabs, J Bolo Cards, Must Have Sports Cards, Small Town Collectibles. What is going on? Thanks for joining us here. For those of you on Apple and Spotify, thank you for thank you for listening as well. Appreciate you. Top 5 sports card opportunities to buy, graded, and flip. So I actually have 5 ones that I have handpicked from the formula at nooffseason.com. So for those of you not familiar, the already graded tab of formula-based sports card rankings is a little bit different than the raw to grade. The raw to grade is like pretty true to form data. It's like, okay, what does this raw card cost? What's the most recent comp? That's the target cost. And what's the upside in a PSA 10, PSA 9, other grades? What's the gem rate? We do some calculations around helping you out with taxes and shipping and marketplace fees and things like that. And then it spits out an ROI percentage based on all of that. And it prioritizes the rankings card versus card versus card versus card. There's usually a couple hundred cards in there, and it ranks them based on ROI percentage. We update the data every day. The formula for already graded cards is a little bit different. The target cost is the most recent comp. That's what you should go after it for. But the upside on that card is based on historical data. 9 times out of 10 for that player. And it's very conservative, but we've changed it a little bit to reflect more of a performance spike, because when you think about buying a card and it's already graded, the only thing that's really going to make it go up would either be you bought it at a good time and the hype rise of a particular season coming up for that player could make it rise, or a performance spike. Like you need something on the calendar to happen for that card to go up, but generally it's underpriced. And that's what that's what the already graded is. So the already graded, I think is there's usually less upside in the already graded, but probably less risk. So it's like a higher floor, but lower ceiling on the already graded. So that's the context of which we're going to talk about these 5 cards that I've handpicked. So the first one is Jared Goff. Jared Goff, I think, falls in line kind of with CJ Stroud and Victor Wembanyama as a fairly safe player to buy into right now with potential upside. The Lions have a lot of expectations. They obviously lost a game against the Buccaneers in week 2 that they probably should have won. But generally, they're still the same Lions that were projected to go into the playoffs and compete to go to a Super Bowl. Jared Goff's 2016 Optic 172 base PSA 10. Last comp is $56. This is a great looking card. From a just general, it's football season and there's more interest in Jared Goff right now. And that he hasn't really popped off and had a major performance yet. There's upside in this card. I think it's probably going to take like a big performance spike. It's probably going to take a big performance by Jared Goff or a massive win streak by the Detroit Lions or a massive playoff win for this card to materialize into the $100 card that the formula thinks it could be. But I think that at a $56 buy-in point, it is a very, very safe card. And it does have that upside of $100. So $43 ROI is what this essentially translates into after all of your fees are taken out. So I really, really like the Jared Goff 2016 Optic 172 base PSA 10 as a handpicked card for all of you to try to go out and get. It's going to be a lower pop count than some of the cards I'm about to talk about, but that's good and bad. I mean, it's bad because it's going to be harder to find. It's good because if you can find it for the target cost, it means there's, I think, that legitimate upside due to the scarcity from the 2016 product. The next one, everybody should be able to go out and find. I think you could probably find it for the target cost. It's a great one to look for at a card show, but it's also a great one to look for online. And going to nooffseason.com will help you do that. Tyrese Halliburton's 2020 base 262 Prism PSA 10. It's a $40 target cost right now. That's pretty cheap for Halliburton. There's no reason why in October, or at least during the NBA season, during a performance spike, this isn't like a $75 to $80 card. So after all the fees and everything that the formula helps subtract for you to be conservative, it's a 54% ROI, which means you're making a good bit of money on a base Prism PSA 10. Good time to buy that right now as well. Before we go to our next 3 top sports card opportunities to buy already graded, let's say hello to Jeff Van Leuven, Eric G, and Bill Bain in the live chat. What's up, everybody? Up next, Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua. We've had a lot of premium members ask on the premium pod this week, which is going to drop Friday. But at nooffseason.com/ask is where you should go to ask all your questions for the premium pod. We've had a lot of people ask, like, should we dip into some of the injured players? You know, there's Tua, there's Jordan Love. Nobody really asked about Puka, so I'm going to come out and say it on the Sports Card Strategy Show. Puka Nacua, not a bad buy right now, especially because the formula tells us that his 2023 Prism Silver 357 PSA 10 is down to $99. $99 for that card right now. When he comes back and has a big performance, that could get back up to $150 to $200 card. That projects it to be a 54% ROI. Now, is there risk involved? Of course. There's risk involved in all of these things. We don't know when Puka's going to come back. We don't know, but we know Cooper Kupp's out. So now there's a situation where it's not like Cooper Kupp is running away with everything and Puka's going to have to fight his way back in for targets when he does come back. We don't know when Cooper Kupp's going to come back. We don't know when Puka's going to come back. But what I do know is that Puka's a big name in the hobby. It's not going to take much for his cards to go back up again, which is why I like the 54% ROI that his Prism Silver PSA 10 gives us right now. If we can get it at that $99 buy-in point based on recent comps, that's your target cost. All right. 4th best sports card opportunity to go out and get. This guy's ice cold right now. He's the 17th ranked prospect in MLB.com's top 100. He's Ethan Salas. We don't know when he's going to get to the bigs. It might not be till 2026. But what I can tell you is that his 2023 Bowman Chrome First Prospect Auto PSA 10 is down to $182. Guys, there's no reason that can't be a $300 to $350 card in March 2025. So I wouldn't overspend on it, but if you can get it for that buy-in, I think it has very, very high upside, 54% ROI according to the formula. Ethan Salas. Let's not forget about baseball prospects right now. We're going to have more baseball card analysis on Monday's show. I'm going to go through the top 5 cards to buy raw and grade from a baseball standpoint. Imagine me talking about baseball without Lefty. I'm going to do it. Believe it or not, I do know baseball. I don't know as much about baseball and baseball cards as Lefty does, but I do know quite a bit about baseball cards. It just happens to be my 3rd strongest sport behind football and basketball. But Ethan Salas, according to the formula, good card to buy. Bowman Chrome First Prospect Auto, big time ROI on that one. But you're going to have money tied up for a while. Like that's the drawback on a lot of these baseball cards versus football and basketball. I think can be more quick flips. Right now, at this time of the year, September 18th, you've got baseball, buying into baseball right now. I think you're going to be holding much, much longer. That's the only downside. A card that you probably don't have to hold very long to make money on, Brandon Ayuk, his 2020 Optic Hollow 169 PSA 10, guys. Somebody got it for $28 recently. That's nothing. Now, I think the reason why it's gone down that low, we've talked about this card for a long time, by the way. I think the reason why it got down that low is because he didn't get traded, right? I think there was going to be a big time spike in his prices if he would have got traded, especially in August. If Brandon Ayuk would have been traded in August, there would have been a big spike. It didn't happen, but now we're in a situation where Deebo Samuel is out. Deebo Samuel's out and Christian McCaffrey's out. So even though Jordan Mason has slotted in nicely and he's filling the running back role, he's not Christian McCaffrey, and they don't really have, like, let's face it, Jawan Jennings, not as dynamic of a playmaker as Deebo Samuel or Christian McCaffrey. Jordan Mason, definitely not as dynamic of a playmaker as Deebo Samuel or Christian McCaffrey. Guys, Brandon Ayuk kind of is, though. Brandon Ayuk is a very dynamic playmaker. He's put up big numbers before, and him and George Kittle are going to be the two dogs in this offense moving forward for San Francisco and Brock Purdy. It's still Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy's offense. Brandon Ayuk's 2020 Optic Hollow 169 PSA 10. $28 buy-in point. Not sure if you're going to be able to get it for that, but on a performance spike, this is easily a $90+ card. The math says even after all fees, that's 166% ROI. That is a quick flip. That's a play of the week right there. Go get it. Brandon Ayuk 2020 Optic Hollow PSA 10. All right, guys, I've got a flyer pick. I don't normally do this. I don't normally look at the formula and go, oh, this is a low ROI. Let's talk about it. But I'm going to do it today. But first, I just want to say hello to Johnny Cashville, George Schurer. Let's go over to Instagram, Husky Cards and Collectibles, Sun Bear Collectibles. Toby, what's up? Toby Sikongo. God, I butchered your last name. That's okay. Live Family Cards, Moneyline Rips. Toby is one of my favorite new premium members of nooffseason.com. What's up, Toby S? All right, everybody. Flyer pick. George Pickens. He's due for a big game, and here's why. He actually had a big game last week, but got held back in the stat column because they were all pass interference penalties. But nobody can cover this guy. Nobody can cover George Pickens. So George Pickens, whether it's this week, whether it's next week, he's going to have a spike week coming up. Mark my words, flag plant. His 2022 Prism Silver 329 PSA 10. He wasn't as highly drafted as Garrett Wilson and some of the other wide receivers that year, but George Pickens, his $66 buy-in point for his Prism Silver PSA 10, the formula only says it's a 9% ROI, but I don't think that's really taken into account what George Pickens can do on the field. If you can get a George Pickens 2022 Prism Silver PSA 10 for the last recent comp of $66, I would hold that card and list it immediately upon performance spike for a much bigger ROI than 9%. I think we could see George Pickens to the moon. All it's going to take is one big week because he's pretty underpriced right now. Not going to be easy to get it, but there you have it. There are your top 5 sports card opportunities handpicked from the formula by yours truly to buy graded and flip. You really don't have to wait very long on any of them except for the Ethan Salas, which is what I like. That's another way, by the way, to diversify your sports card investment portfolio. You need to think of it less about players that you're buying. You need to think of it more about time that you need the cash flow back, right? When are you spending the money? When are you projected to get the cash flow back based on selling the card? And so I wouldn't go out and buy all baseball cards that you need to wait until March to get the money back. It's only September. A lot happens between September and March. So what I would do is diversify between things like raw to grade, things like already graded, things like can I sell the card next week versus next month versus next quarter versus the next 6 months versus next year versus the next 18 months? Am I going to a card show coming up? Like, you need to diversify between those factors. Bill Bain in the live chat asks, where are you finding these card comps? Bill, marketmoversapp.com. You can save 20% for life on marketmoversapp.com if you use the promo code NOOFFSEASON. Market Movers uses eBay 130 Market Movers pulls in from MySlabs, from Fanatics Collect, from Cards HQ. In-store transactions now from Cards HQ are being fed into Market Movers. Look, not every data tool is going to be perfect. Every once in a while, there's a mistake in Market Movers. I work with Teapot and the team to fix that mistake. I don't have any affiliation with Market Movers other than the fact that I love the product. So I am an affiliate for the product, but I don't get any kind of, I'm not like a partner in that company or anything like that. I just have a good relationship with those guys because I believe in what they're doing. And really, they're just pulling in the data. They're making it easier for the formula to pull in the data. The formula would have to go, nooffseason.com would have to go to like 5 or 6 different places. Instead, it goes to Market Movers. If Market Movers doesn't have it, we go to eBay, sold, comp. So, love it. All right. Sean Red 5 Cards is in the house. What's up, Sean? Loyal premium member of nooffseason.com and a one-on-one strategist member. You might want to contact Sean Red 5 Cards via social media just to see, like, is that one-on-one thing with Paul really worth it? See what Sean has to say about it. All right, everybody, enough pressure on Sean Red 5 Cards. I want to talk with you all real quick about this new Topps announcement. I don't usually get excited about, hey, there's a new Wemby LeBron dual auto. Like, honestly, that didn't excite me at all. And I'll tell you why for a second. That's so unachievable for really all of us. Like, it's unachievable. It's either a lottery ticket, which none of us are going to win, or it's so expensive that only the 0.0001 percenters of the world, let alone the hobby, can afford. So it's almost like it's just a dick tease. It's just a dick tease. And I don't like dick teases. I mean, maybe you guys do, but I don't. So a hobby D tease, no thanks. I just don't get excited by these photos on social media of these, oh, this is a dual auto, blah, 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 that I'm never, like the triple auto bounties and all that stuff. Is it good for the hobby? Yes. Do I like it from that perspective? Yes. Am I really angry with anyone because they like it? Of course not. Everything's allowed. I'm just saying, do I get excited about it? No, I don't. I just personally don't get excited about it. So anytime that there's like a big pull or a big rip or a blibbity blah, 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 like, great, fine, good for you. Does it get me excited? No, because there's nothing in it for me. There really is. And not only is there nothing in it for me, there's nothing that I can share with you guys that's valuable to you guys. So that's why I don't really talk about that news very often. However, when I saw that that one of one with Wemby and LeBron is coming from actually a high-end set called Mercury that sells for $8,000 a box, now I'm a little interested. Now I'm a little interested because now we're looking at a situation where not only do we have something that's a little bit more achievable for all of us, but we have a set that looks to be all Wemby cards. And now I start to think, okay, Topps Fanatics is coming out with an all Wemby set. Wemby essentially is the entire sports card market right now, believe it or not. Like if you pay attention to the basketball card market update that I put out every Wednesday, there's one that I put out earlier today. It's really, really hard to find data on anyone that's not Victor Wembanyama. So like, and then when you extrapolate that out to all sports, like maybe like football and basketball have their own individual markets that are very, very strong. Or sorry, football and baseball. But in terms of like, if you were to say, hey, Paul, name the one thing that is dictating the entire sports card market right now, I would say it's Victor Wembanyama. Now, if something were to happen to Victor Wembanyama, would the entire market suffer? Probably not, because there's all these different micro markets that thrive all the time independently of any one big factor. But I'm just saying, like, sales volume, sales price, liquidity, opportunity, the amount of cards, it's all Victor Wembanyama. And I'm not surprised. Like, I'm not surprised. Like, so I think that Victor Wembanyama having his own high-end set made by Topps called Mercury, where there's going to be all these autos, all these super short prints, on-card dual autographs. So like each box features 8 cards, including game-worn relic cards, on-card dual autographs, and unique inscriptions. Base cards will highlight Wemby's top rookie moments, with short print French variation and specimen super short prints. This is going to drop October 9th. It's going to be available on Topps' website at select hobby shops and on the Fanatics Live app. I'm less excited about the Wemby LeBron dual auto in a vacuum like most people are. And I'm more excited about this set and what it means for the hobby. It means there's going to be a lot more Wemby singles on the market, a lot more attention around Wemby cards. I think Wemby's performance on the court is going to be through the roof this year, which I think is going to be another reason to double down on Victor Wembanyama in your sports card investment portfolio. I also think that this is going to be good for all of his other cards that are much more affordable, like his Topps Chrome rookie cards that the formula likes that we talked about on Monday's show. I'm buying up a ton of those. They look like beautiful cards and they look very, very gradable. So I'm very excited about those. And I think a rising tide lifts all ships in this scenario, where whether or not you can afford to buy into this Mercury set, whether or not you're going to participate in anything related to this Mercury set, I think it's an opportunity to ride the coattails of this Mercury set and buy other Victor Wembanyama cards, like his Prism base, get them graded, like parallels of his Prism, like his Prism Silver. I mean, his Prism Silver's down a little bit currently, not a lot, but it's down to like under $1,000 based on the most recent comp. I'm not ready to put that in the already graded formula, but since we're on the subject, that's a pretty good already graded card to buy, his Prism Silver PSA 10. So I really think that you've got an opportunity to ride the coattails of this Mercury release. Like I said, most of this stuff does not, I see all of this stuff all the time. I just don't care about it, so I don't talk about it. This one I think is pretty interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments below in terms of impact on the hobby and the Mercury set. I thought it was a cool announcement too, by the way, like the way that Topps did it, where they showed like spoof breaking news with like a meteor hitting from France outside San Antonio. We all knew it was going to be a Wemby related announcement. The fact that this is what it is, I think, is actually very, very relevant to all of us here at the Sports Card Strategy Show and the NoOffSeason.com fam. Chad Dyer says, just grabbed a Prism Puka Nakua PSA 10 silver for $95 out the door. Chad, well done. That's $4 under the target cost. So for all of you out there going like, hey, I don't know, can't find it in the target cost, Chad Dyer can. Now, I know Chad Dyer is one of the more astute sports card flippers in the world, but look, I mean, I don't think he has any special hookups to cards that we don't have. Chad, if you can do it, can everybody? Thanks, man. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate that. Koa, I'm going to take this one because I love Koa. Koa says, can I suggest an addition where you divide the ROI by estimated hold time to get a truer ROI to the formula? Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Estimated hold time. Interesting. You know, I think that's a good way to think about it, Koa. I think that's a great way to think about it. I think there's a dialogue there. I think that it would probably have to be a modification on a per player basis, which I could make. I would just need to figure out like what's the little visual identifier of that from a website user experience standpoint. And I would probably, what's tough about that is you really don't know, how do I put this? Like if it's a baseball player who's a prospect, like Ethan Salas, I don't necessarily want to, I want to be conservative. So I would want to say like, yeah, let's modify this so that the ROI percentage goes down because you have to hold it. But it's already pretty dang conservative. I see what you're saying. I'm kind of thinking about this. I'm kind of talking about it as I'm thinking about it since you just brought it up. I see what you're saying. There could be a modifier, and I could modify like on a card by card basis on the formula. I could do that. I could. So we'll see. Thanks for the suggestion. Chad Dyer says, yeah, just a quick eBay search to buy that Puka card. So Chad's winning. Moneyline Rip says, new to your videos, amazing content. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Matt in the Hat 96, Callahan cards, Akagi basketball, Rocky Mountain Sports Cards joins, Crames cards, Chovy 913, B Rogers 824, P Shea 04, D Ram cards 26, the real old Miguel. What's up? The real old Miguel is a premium member of nooffseason.com. Shout out the real old Miguel. Line Shot card says, shout out to all the work the GOAT Paul Hickey is putting in. Thanks so much. Awesome. Thanks so much. Okay. So let's talk about upcoming releases. I like to just kind of quickly go over this on the Wednesday episodes. Sports card releases this week. Today, 2 releases, 2023-24 Panini Impeccable Basketball. This could be a good one, guys, because there's going to be Wemby in here. He's not going to have any autos, obviously, because it's Panini. There should be autos, maybe of guys like Scoot, guys like Brandon Miller. Impeccable. I've made some money flipping singles from Impeccable. I definitely would not buy. So it's 9 cards per pack, 1 pack per box. Hobby boxes on eBay are going for over $1,000. And that's with 4 days left. So buy it now is up around $2,200, $2,400. So that's, I mean, there's no way I would ever sign off on buying a box of Impeccable for that amount of money. What I would do rather is wait till these Impeccable singles have been out on the market for a while. There's some nice low serial numbered autos of some flyer rookies that you could buy into. And so that's notable from that standpoint. It also could drive the price of Prism and Optic down a bit, which would be great from a raw to grade standpoint for a lot of the guys that we talk about on Monday's show pretty consistently. Panini Gold Standard Football, 2024 Panini Gold Standard Football releases today. 7 cards per pack, 1 pack per box. The hobby boxes on eBay. People want almost $400 for them. You know, the thing with Gold Standard is that it's a quick flip. So, you know, if you're really excited about the 2024 rookie class, it could work. I just, what scares me about it is that now you've got like Caleb and Jaden who don't really have many Panini cards other than the Panini instant cards. Like they weren't in the rookie premiere set, which leads me to believe that like they could, you know, we didn't see him in Score Retreat either. So, and we saw Marvin Harrison Jr. in Score Retreat. So I just don't know who we're going to see in Panini Gold Standard. And so you're really, you know, you've got a strong class. Obviously, you've got 6 quarterbacks in the first round. You've got Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr., Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, all in the first round. So you would expect all these guys to be in there. They're definitely not all going to have autographs because some of them are Panini exclusive. But you've also got Luminance Football coming out on September 20th, this Friday. Hobby boxes pre-selling on eBay for between $350 and $500. You know, Luminance is not Luminance and Gold Standard are not high end by any stretch of the imagination. But I think what's significant about these releases coming out, and I'll be interested to Chad Dyer's thoughts on this too, is it's the beginning of the real football release calendar. Like Score is out, Score Retreat came out, but now with Gold Standard and with Luminance coming out, it's the indicator that, okay, these Panini instants that we've been talking about and these tops now, they really are quick flips. Like we really do have to get out of them probably by October, November, before like with, you know, you're going to have Don Russ Elite, like Pen Pals autos. You're going to have the more football cards that come out with the names that I just mentioned in them. All of those Panini instant cards that we've been talking about become super, super timely to get rid of strategically quickly, or make a sophisticated play if you're going to grade them and execute those plays. So we also have Upper Deck the Cup hockey. For those of you hockey fans out there, that's a big one. Comes out tomorrow. Panini NASCAR Select Racing comes out today. Don't care about that. Drop a comment at youtube.com/Paul Hickey if you think there's a reason I should care about that. Same with 2024 Upper Deck AEW Wrestling comes out today. 2023-24 Topps Merlin UEFA Club Competitions Soccer comes out Friday. Don't see a real reason to care about that. Merlin typically does not do well from a flipping standpoint. Next week, we can talk more about National Treasures football. That is going to be the 2023 class. So that's going to be CJ Stroud. He's not going to have autos, but that's going to be Anthony Richardson, Puka Nacua will have autos in that one. 8 cards per pack, 1 pack per box. If you're new to the hobby, National Treasures is going to cost you, well, you could pre-order it now for $2,800 for the box. That's actually less than I thought it would be. But big time gamble. Actually, that's a good would you rather. Would you rather pay $8,000 for guaranteed Wemby cards with the likelihood of some kind of Wemby hit of some point? Or would you rather pay for Panini National Treasures at $2,800? So I don't know. It's interesting. Let me know your thoughts. Everybody, thanks so much for joining us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. Couple quick reminders. Repack. The Repack product at nooffseason.com is live. Drop 2. Go buy as many as you want right now. There's only 39 left. It's $200 per pack. 1 card per pack. A lot of value. High ceiling, high floor. Go check that out. Also, we're curating auctions every day. Interner is in the lab. Remember the lab when Connor would be back in the lab? We've got Interner in the lab now. Interner is in the lab. Picture him with a lab coat on. He's the man. He's churning out curated eBay, Fanatics Collect, whatnot auctions, all at nooffseason.com. Gotta check that out. So Repack and auctions at nooffseason.com. Arrowwoods says he'd rather have the 8K guaranteed Wemby. So would I. Card Snatcher and Bill Bain. Bill Bain can't wait for Donruss. And Card Snatcher, Merlin Chrome looks awesome. Yes. Again, thanks to everybody for joining us, whether you're on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy, whether at youtube.com/Paul Hickey, or whether on Apple and Spotify. I love all of you equally. Have a great day. Thanks so much for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. To connect with us further, please subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Paul Hickey. Please also give us a follow on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy and on X at No Off Season Card. We also have a Discord that you could join at sportscardstrategy.com. Everyone, I'm Paul Hickey. For the rest of us here at nooffseason.com, have a great day. We'll see you again soon.